Hey, what's up, everybody? So, there's so much going on to talk about. I don't even know where to make this video on. There's a lot of different topics that are on my mind right now. I guess the one I'll go with is Nick Cannon. Just to further my conversation that I was having yesterday about Nick. I think that we, and as I said yesterday, need to have a national conversation about who and what the rumors that are going around about who the African American is, about who the African American is not, and about who the Jewish American is, and the Jewish people that we understand to be today, versus the myths and the stories that are being floated around the black community about us being the true people of Israel. So, Nick Cannon has come out recently as today, basically. He's said some really disturbing things about his own state of mind, more or less. He was saying he's tired of planet Earth. He's hurt and saddened by the fact that he hurt an entire community with his words, and then only to be attacked by his own community for apologizing for hurting those people. And my thing is, brother, you can't. First of all, it's being reported that you made that apology because NBC forced you to in order to keep your job with them. And we know that you had already been let go by Viacom, so I can understand why you want to stop the bleeding, but don't take the entire circumstance out on the black community. The black community is simply responding the way that you would expect them to respond. And that's the part that's most disappointing to me above all else. Why did you not expect all of this, Nick Cannon? You've been in this business for over 20 years. When you open your mouth to say something like those people aren't who they say they are, they're imposters, yes, they're going to be offended, bro. Yes, that's something that's foreseeable. I could have told you that. Knowing that this is something that's also floating around our community, something that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan mentioned on July the 4th, and we know that he is considered an anti-Semitic, anti-Semitic, basically. We know this. They have deemed him somebody that is not a friend of the Jewish people. You know this. So if you're going to quote him, when he's quoting Hitler, brother, you're going to offend a lot of people. When the black community's having this conversation, as I was saying, they don't want you to come out here and apologize for that. We want you to come out and teach us about who it is and what it is that you're talking about, so we can be on board with any apology that you may have. When you irresponsibly use your voice, face those consequences, and then blame people who are disappointed in you and irresponsibly using your voice. Not the people who are forcing you to bow down. You ain't gonna be mad at them. This is that old, I want to keep my job, I'm a coon for master mentality. I'm sorry, I hate to say it about somebody as honorable as Nick Cannon, but this is what is going on here. He lost one job, he's trying to keep another one. His employer said in order to keep that job, he has to apologize to the people he offended, and he's apologizing. All of that seems standard except for the fact that the conversation at hand needs to be had before people can back your apology. We don't know who they are, we don't know who we are. This conversation is going around, these myths are going around about this and that and the third, about who we are and who they are. How do you expect your community to back you up when we're learning information that we're trying to figure out if it makes sense or not, or if it's real or not? And you're just going to go out here and just apologize and then blame us for your apology. We all know you apologize to keep your money flowing. It's a business decision. The business decision should have been to never have said this. If you were really thinking sharp, you foresee all of this fall out, because I would have, and you just don't say that stuff. Or, if you're going to say something like that, do it responsibly. Don't do it on Twitter. Don't do it in passing. Set up an hour on your YouTube show where you dig into the truth about the people that we know as Jewish people and their heritage and the myths that are going around about us being them. And you sit down and you have some real conversations with some real prominent people from both communities, and you dispel any rumors or you reveal the truth, and we all sit down and we be brothers about it. That's how Nick Cannon's supposed to handle this. That's how I would have expected him to handle something like this. Not bust out with apologies and bust out with these irresponsible jargon, not being cognizant of who he's going to offend. And then furthermore, bust out and complain to the black community as if he doesn't understand why we're upset. We're upset because you just threw us under the bus. Last week, you were trying to explain to us that we were Jewish. This week, you're telling us that anybody who says that they're Jewish as a black person basically needs to apologize to Jewish people. Which is it, brother? Which is it? Because last week we believed you when you told us we were Jews. Now we believe you when you say that we are ignorant for even saying that. Right? That's what you want us to do? Believe both? I'm sorry. We're not that kind of stupid, Nick. We're not. And it's disappointing that you are. Not foreseeing this entire process. Not foreseeing this entire case unfolding as it is. It was foreseeable. I think the average person would have told you, yo, they're going to be offended by that. And if you apologize for saying that, people going to be on this side going to be offended by that. Because we're working under the guise of misunderstanding, knowingly being ignorant. 99% of us are saying, we don't know if this shit is true. So how can we co-sign an apology about saying this? And if you said it and worded it in such a way that was offensive, then it shouldn't have been worded that way. You don't go off calling people imposters. These people are walking around there living this way. Calling people imposters ain't the way to go. Now, did they get their heritage originally from their ancestors? If they did not, that's a conversation that we need to have together. Together. Jewish people and African Americans sitting down and hashing this out responsibly, respectively, and cognizant of one another's feelings. You don't run off at the mouth, apologize, and then scurry into a corner and blame the people who are mad at you for playing both sides. You're ignorant. Stephen Jackson was ignorant. Deshaun Jackson's ignorant. I'm ignorant. We don't know. That's the point. It's time for conversation and enlightenment, not baseless apologies and empty, hurtful statements. It's just irresponsible on all parties. Everybody who's saying this shit is irresponsible because you're not providing proof. I'm not going to give... The only person who provided any proof was Minister Farrakhan. And unfortunately, the proof that he provided came from the mouth of Hitler. But at least he provided something for us to hold our hands on as opposed to just saying it's his opinion. Gotta be responsible with your voices, especially if you have a voice like Nick Cannon, who's worked tirelessly, effortlessly to help educate his community and as well as entertain the rest of us, the rest of the world. But you can't make everybody happy. And when you're having tough conversations, the only way to truly be genuine is to admit ignorance and demand a conversation. Instead of scurrying behind the money, if you was really about the money, you would have never thrown yourself in this situation. You would have never even mentioned Jewish people's name. You know what consequences that hold. If you're not ready to die on that hill, hey, don't go up there. You see anybody else going on that hill? Besides Farrakhan and the two Jackson dudes? No, no one else is going on that hill. You think we ain't thinking these thoughts? The conversation's being had in every community. Just about every black community is starting to have this conversation. Just about everywhere you go, people are starting to have this conversation. But we're not about to run off at the mouth and defend people. No, run at the mouth and say, hey, you're not who you are. What kind of stupid, ignorant shit is that? I don't care if it's true or not. It's irresponsible. Something like that has to be presented responsibly, with evidence. If you're gonna run off calling people imposters, you better have your damn proof. These people, you know what I mean? I don't know what we're aiming for, Nick. I'm talking to you in this regard. I don't know what you're aiming for, bro. I just don't understand what you were thinking, or why you would blame us for the fallout of this shit. Everybody's behavior is predictable in this case. All of them. Everybody's. I haven't seen anything in this situation that surprises me other than the fact that Nick Cannon is surprised by how everything's unfolding. That's the only thing surprising about any of this. It's highly disappointing, man. Anyway, that's all I gotta say, I think, about this conversation. If I have anything else to say, I'll make another video. But Nick, stop blaming us for the fallout of your anti-Semitic statements. We're not gonna co-sign any apology because we don't know if what you're saying isn't true initially. We don't know that. If this were universally understood to be something that wasn't true, then we would call you an ignorant anti-Semite and toss you off a river. But we've taken your side because we know that you have our backs and we know that you're not going to tell us some shit that ain't true. So why are you apologizing for something when you have that type of respect to your own community? Don't try to play both sides. Period. That's the lesson to learn here. Own that shit, Nick. That's all there is to it.